Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing and Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, November 7th. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've seen precipitation mainly target the northern and eastern half of the Great Basin, with some areas of Idaho, eastern Nevada, and Utah seeing above normal precipitation. Still, well below normal precipitation exists over southern and western portions of Nevada, but we will see additional storms this week, which will change that picture. Over the last 72 hours, we have seen significant new snowfall, especially in the higher terrain of central Idaho, into Wyoming, and down into northern Utah, where we saw up to a foot or even more snowfall in some areas. Other areas of northeast Nevada and the Sierra also saw some more modest amounts, but in the higher elevation of northeast Nevada did see around a foot in some locations. Currently, our snowpack is well above normal with these recent storms, and we will see more storms this week to improve that snowpack even further. The satellite loop from this morning shows a strong area of low pressure with very cold air moving into the Pacific Northwest coast. This will continue pushing eastward across the Great Basin and bring us colder temperatures and additional snowfall in both low and higher elevations, along with strong winds out ahead of this area of low pressure. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, again, that low continues to push eastward. We do have low fire potential. We will see some strong winds today over parts of central areas of the Great Basin. But again, fuel moistures are higher, but we will see those stronger winds certainly affect the region. And you can see today these strongest winds will be located over central and eastern areas of Nevada into western Utah, where these wind gusts will exceed 50 or 60 miles per hour and could even exceed 65 miles per hour in the highest locations. Also the Sierra and downwind of the Sierra, we will see some of those stronger downslope winds as well. Mixing heights will remain high. With looking at the relative humidity today, even with those stronger winds, relative humidity obviously still elevated with these cold temperatures and precipitation moving through today, but still, again, very windy conditions with good dispersion, especially over the southern half of the Great Basin. As we move into Tuesday, this area of low pressure dips further south along the west coast. This will increase moisture across the Great Basin. We are looking between today and Wednesday for significant amounts of new snowfall for many areas of Nevada into the Sierra, and also further east eventually into Utah and up into Idaho. The higher elevations could see 1 to 2 feet or more of snowfall, and lower elevations could see several inches over the next couple of days. So definitely a significant cold and wet system that will be moving through the Great Basin. Otherwise, fire potential obviously will remain low. Tomorrow, the winds will be strongest over the southern and eastern half of the Great Basin. Still could see those gusts over 50 or 60 miles per hour for parts of southern and eastern Nevada into western Utah. Mixing heights, again, will remain high. On Tuesday, still higher relative humidity again as that storm moves through with the colder temperatures and the precipitation. Otherwise, the ventilation index will remain high with good dispersion over the southern and eastern half of the Great Basin with those stronger winds, and certainly much lower further north. On Wednesday, the low finally starts to track eastward across the Great Basin, opening up and keeping that moisture in place over central and eastern areas with continued new precipitation, mostly in the form of snowfall with this cold system, although in the very far south could see more rain showers in the lower elevations. Otherwise, low fire potential continues. Transport winds on Wednesday will increase behind the system over northern parts of Nevada, but ahead of the system still remain gusty over eastern Utah with high mixing heights. Relative humidity will also remain high going into Wednesday with this system continuing to move overhead, and good dispersion almost region-wide. Colder temperatures will remain in place and also get quite a bit colder as we move through the week, and that area of low pressure and cold front tracks across the Great Basin. High temperatures today will remain in the 50s or 60s down south and in the 30s and 40s up north, but as that system moves through, we will see much colder temperatures even down south, with temperatures dropping 15 to 20 degrees in some areas. This also puts overnight lows in potentially the single digits in teens, especially across the northern areas. So very cold temperatures in place with this new snowfall. Forecast clearing indices today quite a bit higher than what we saw yesterday with the increase in winds, and those higher clearing indices will continue as those winds remain strong going into the middle of the week. 3-day amounts of precipitation, again, you can see the significant amounts of precipitation we are expecting, especially for the Sierra, but also into many areas of Nevada and Utah, and especially up into eastern Idaho and Wyoming. A little bit lesser amounts as you go further north and west towards central Idaho. Looking at Thursday, we will see that system track further east, so we will see a ridge of high pressure starting to build along the west coast. Still, temperatures will remain cold and inversions will be in place, especially with the new snowfall on the ground, so certainly could see some fog in some areas, but also strong inversions. Otherwise, dispersion will remain good over the eastern half of the Great Basin on Thursday as that system exits and those northwest winds remain breezy. Fire potential remains low. On Friday, that ridge builds stronger over much of the Great Basin and much of the west, so drier conditions but still very cold temperatures and strong inversions. We will see some good dispersion over parts of Nevada and Idaho. Otherwise, significant fire potential remains low. On Saturday, that ridge continues moving eastward. We do have a weak area of low pressure moving into northern California, so could see some cloud cover, but generally just weak amounts of precipitation and low fire potential. On Sunday, we will see the ridge build a little bit stronger and low fire potential. So looking at days 4 and 5, precipitation for Thursday through Saturday, again, a more drier regime as that system exits to our east, and then the 7-day total precip, much of that falling here in the next few days. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from November 14th through the 20th, shows colder temperatures, but really cold temperatures in the central areas of the country, but still below normal for the Great Basin, and generally near or below normal precipitation. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Wednesday for the latest updates.